Hey guys, it's Candice with Candice Fitness, and today I've got 30 body weight exercises that you can do no matter where you are and get a really good, efficient workout. Now, I know that a lot of us are stuck at home and we don't have access to all the equipment that we would wish we did have access to, but I'm here to show you that you can get an efficient workout in with just your body weight. First thing I want you to think about is how much do you weigh? For example, I weigh 140 pounds. I know 140 pounds is a lot more than an 8-pound dumbbell, right? Or a 10-pound or a 30-pound. So if you are doing exercises in the right way, you're gonna get a very good benefit and you can really strengthen your whole body with just body weight. And so I'm gonna go over all the exercises first, and then I will at the end kind of tell you how to work through them, how to structure them, and how to really get the most out of coming up with a plan to really kick your own butt at home with just your body weight. First things I'm going to go through are basic movements. So things that we do all the time, just everyday life, and what we would consider our foundational movements of life, of how we move. So my favorite is a squat. So first thing, I just want to make sure you guys are doing these right. We're going to go over a bunch of different variations, but a normal squat, you want to think about your hips going back and down. Your feet are forward. Now you can definitely do them with your feet out, but for this purpose, for a normal squat, we want them forward. We want to let our knees track over our ankles, sitting down and back as much as we can, really squeezing those glutes as we come up, thinking about that core engagement as you do, and not letting that back round either as you go down. You can change the tempo up, go wide, really press those knees out a little bit. We don't want them turning in. Letting those hips go, squeeze those glutes and hamstrings at the top. You should really feel it in your booty when you're doing a squat. Next thing we got are lunges. Now, lunges should be thought of honestly as a single leg squat. Now, I know that a lot of times I've heard from many a client, many a friends, oh, I can't do lunges, they hurt my knees. Well, if you do them right, they shouldn't hurt your knees because you shouldn't really be feeling them in your knees, you should be feeling them in your glutes. So for how to set it up, let's get those feet hip width apart. Position one foot behind you. You're gonna have your knees about 90 degrees when you come down. So you really are keeping all that weight in that front glute, that front leg, pressing up through that whole entire front foot. Dropping down 90 degrees, coming up. I like to lean over just a little bit just to help really get into that glute. So from the side, we're here, split stance again, about hip width apart, dropping that back knee is just going right under that hip for the most part, 90 degrees, and then you're pressing up through that front glute. Now, another variation to that would be a reverse lunge. So feet hip width apart, instead you're just stepping back, and then you are bringing that knee up if you want to challenge, or you can just tap that foot on the ground, step back, driving through that front leg again as you do, really trying to keep that hip width stance the entire time. And you should really feel these in your glutes. You can also do step ups in the same way. Take it to the stairs, take it to a small bench, and really drive through that front leg that's on the ground, and think about knee over that ankle. Drive up, stand up, lower down slow. Another great alternative. Then we have hinges. Hinges are one of my favorite moves, and they're something we literally do all the time. So a hinge is where you're just bending over to pick something up. I mean, think about how often you pick something up off the ground, right? So the difference between a hinge and a squat is your hips are just going straight back. So hinging, just bending over, reaching towards the ground, coming up, squeezing those glutes at the top, letting those hips go back, slide bend to the knee, reach down, come up. The one thing that I see done a lot with hinges that is not right is your body goes forward first. Let those hips go forward, bend at the waist, reach towards the ground, come up. So great exercise, shoulders are back, nice flat back the entire time, and not looking up, kind of looking straight forward. So when you're down, you're more like this, not breaking that neck. And that is a great way to really feel your glutes turn on. Another great lower body movement is a lateral lunge. Now this isn't an everyday movement. Now these are some variations of lunges. Lateral lunges are where you're stepping out to the side. You're getting a deep inner thigh stretch on one side, and you're keeping all that weight on that outside leg. driving back in. Feet are facing forward, sitting down into that glute of the outside leg, coming back together. All the way out, come back in. Now you can do these where you're alternating one side and then you go out to the other, or you can just stay on one side, but it's a great way because you really work your hips with those external rotators and your glutes on the other side. And so another great lunge exercise. The next one I want to go over is a curtsey squat. Now these are, if you have knee problems, I do not recommend it. If you have any sort of imbalances, I don't recommend it. You need to be able to make sure that your knee stays positioned over your foot. So start standing, you're gonna step behind, curtsey, if you will, and then press off through that front leg, again, feeling it in that side booty. So all the way down, press up. So what we don't want is your knee to come out like this or in too much, because you're gonna twist your knee, and that is never a good thing. But I love these when done right because you really feel it in that side booty. A single leg deadlift or a kickstand deadlift. So you want to start for a kickstand. Your toe is just propped up. All your weight's on one side, hips facing forward. You're literally just hinging over. But essentially you're just keeping all that weight on that one side. Love these because they really isolate one side at a time. Then the next up version would be hinging over, where you're more balancing and that leg is extending, following behind you. Now these are really easy to fall off on because your hips, a lot of our hips tend to turn out. We want to keep them as in line as possible. So you can also just really think about keeping that entire foot flat, driving through that heel and that big toe on the bottom leg, and trying to almost turn this foot in. As weird as it sounds when it goes behind you, it's going to help from that hip turning out. And again, these are great for those hamstrings, those glutes, that whole posterior chain, even those inner thighs, and it helps with your balance too. So, single leg deadlifts. Then we have a push movement, which is a push-up. We push things away all the time, right? So a push-up should be just like a plank. You're in a plank position. Dial those arms out, or those hands out, so you've got a wide palm. You lower your whole body down, and then you press back up. So you can do this from your knees as well, lower all the way down, press back up. So you're not letting your hips drop, you're not letting your butt go up. You are simply lowering down as much as you can, coming back up. And thinking about keeping your arms about 45 degrees, right? Wild dog right here. So you can think of this, you can do scapular retraction push-ups. So you're here or on all fours to start. Here, and press those shoulders down and back, squeeze, round up. Work on that shoulder mobility. This is a great other exercise that you can do. So you can do it on all fours, or you can get into an actual plank, press down, not moving those arms, just through the shoulders, keeping that core engaged, and go through that. Next exercise is a variation of the squat, and it's a sumo squat. Now you want your feet, the difference with these are super wide stance. Feet are turned out, and you're dropping your hips down really as low as you can, keeping your body as straight up as you can, and squeezing those glutes at the top. So you're all the way down, and you really feel these not only in those side glutes, but those inner thighs as well. Dropping down as far as you can, pressing up, squeezing those glutes at the top. You can hold your hands however you want, you don't have to pray, but just really thinking about all that glute work with these. I love sumo squats. All right, the next is a good morning. Now a good morning is super close to a hinge. However, hands are behind your head. So you want to position yourself, feet about hip width apart, hands behind your head. You're letting those hips go all the way back. So I'm really extending forward, keeping that flat back, but I don't have quite as much bend in my knee for these. So I'm here really driving through those heels, through those feet, standing up, squeezing at the top. Having a good straight line with my body, stretching those hamstrings, and then coming up to the top. Stretching those hamstrings, coming up to the top. And you should really feel these in your glutes. You might feel it a little bit in the top of your booty, and that's fine. But good mornings are another great body weight exercise. You've got a side plank, stability. So Side planks are great because they work stability in your shoulders, they work your core, they work your obliques, and you can do multiple variations of them. So I love stacking one foot in front of the other. It kind of helps really position yourself to where you can lift through that oblique, but you want to make sure that that shoulder is right over that elbow and you're not overextending back. You're keeping everything in a nice straight line. You can also do it on your knees, keeping both knees down until you, or straighten the top leg until you get confident in where you want to be and how you feel. You can also do it on your palm. Now let's keep going. Come on, buddy. Get on all fours now. Really gonna focus on those glutes and that core. Your hands are directly under your shoulders, knees under your hips, and you are going straight up, keeping that leg 90 degrees into donkey kicks. Now these are great for your core as well, because you want to focus on not rotating, not sinking into your hip on either side. Just raise through that glute, keep your foot 90 degrees the whole time, and do the same number on each side. Then there's fire hydrants. It's going to work that external rotation, same positioning, just really working on that outer glute, that glute med, 12 on each side. And then you might have your dog in between, which is just going to add a little resistance there. So do however many on each side, and that's another great one. Then we have some core exercises. So you ready for those? Let's transition. So we've got bird dogs where these are great for stability, opposite arm, opposite leg. You are extending and you are holding, trying not to let one hip sink or dip, everything nice and in line. You can go from here after holding, making sure, again, you don't want to arch that back. You want to keep everything nice and engaged. Bring that knee in, bring that elbow in, and extend back out. Being sure not to overextend. And do this after holding for a desired amount of reps. That's a good one too. Then we've got just good old planks, which, see how this goes with this guy. So you're going to get into a plank on your forearms or your palms, go on your heels, and then lift up. And just hold stationary. Don't know what's happening down there. Hold stationary for as long as you can. That's another great core exercise and one of the basics. But you want to make sure that you're squeezing your shoulder blades together, you're squeezing your glutes, and you're squeezing your thighs if your feet are together as much as you can. And really thinking about keeping that weight in your core. That's what it's all about with a plank. Not letting it overpower in your shoulders or in your hips, but all in that core. And the more you do it, the more you will see that that happens. So another great core exercise, which we'll see how this goes. I'm gonna add a little resistance by holding him. All right, so we're gonna do a dead bug, right? We're gonna do a dead bug, bud, okay? So Collin's gonna help. We're going to position our knees right over our hips, just like this. Hands positioned on your thighs, and you're locking your arms out, and you are just holding here first. You can do it with your head up if you'd like, but just hold with your hands and head down first, powering up that core, really making it really turn on. Another alternative to this is you can keep one hand on your thigh, the other arm, other leg, you're extending out, and then you crunch it in. So you're still applying that resistance on one side, but you are extending out and doing more reps on the other side. And you can do that for however many desired reps you can. Then another good core exercise, I can't believe he is literally asleep, y'all, are reverse crunches. So keep those knees stacked over your hips, hands over or behind your head for these, or you can keep them under your butt if it hurts, but we want to think about really drawing those ribs and hip points together anytime we're in this position to really get that core engaged. Then you're going to drop down and come up, drop down, come up, drop down, come up. Work in those lower core muscles. And then again, if you feel it in your neck, just try to think about repositioning it to your core, or place your hands under your butt and it can help a little bit in keeping your head down. So reverse crunches are another great exercise. All right, so another exercise that you can do that is a favorite of mine are bridges. So you can position yourself where you are right on the ground, lifting your hips up, both feet on the ground, and then just holding, or you can do reps. I can't. Or you can do alternate to a single leg bridge, keeping those hips in line. Switch to the other side. Again, trying to make sure that you keep your hips square and in line the whole time, not letting one drop more than the other. So you're just holding. You can also, another bridge variation is to walk out on your heels, then walk it back in, keeping those hips up. That's really going to target lower in those hamstrings. Again, thinking about not letting those glutes touch the ground the whole time, alternating between those. And we have another core exercise, which is a knee drop. In a plank position, you're going to just let your knees tap down. So you're holding a plank on your palms. You could also do this elevated on that surface. You're going to drop those knees down, kind of rounding that pelvis down at the bottom, and that is really working that lower core. So those lower core muscles, that's what we're targeting with that, dropping down for however many reps. And that's a great, another core exercise. Then we want to work our back too. We always want to work our back. Here we're going to do Supermen. So Supermen are where you're just raising up legs and arms at the same time, coming down, relaxing, raising up, thinking about not getting into those traps, into that neck, and then coming down, up and down. Then we have YTWs, which are just for your back. So you're going to start with a Y. So you're laying flat, just raising up through your back, coming down. Here he is again. Then extending your arms out wide, or T rather, and then going to a W here. So you just go through that movement. And just like that. And y'all, you can find, oh, that's real cute. You can find all these exercises with more explanation on my YouTube. I have all of them drawn out in short videos, so I'm just going through these rather quickly. So go ahead and you can definitely find them on my YouTube. You're gonna walk it out to a plank on your palms, hands underneath those shoulders, alternate one knee in, then the other, and then walk those hands back. Slowly curl up, and then repeat it for the desired amount of reps. You could also do a push-up, you could do a plank jack, you could do numerous things. Just really think about slowly rolling up as you do. You also have quadrupled tricep extensions. These are another great one. So you're on all fours just like this, and you are going to keep your hands under those shoulders, knees under those hips the whole time. You're just lowering your elbows down, trying not to shift your weight back, keeping your elbows in, then coming back up to all fours. So keeping that weight forward, pressing up. Keeping that weight forward, all in that triceps, pressing up, not going back like this because you're not going to get anything out of that. Pressing down, coming up. Tricep extensions. Another great tricep exercise is a dolphin or seal push-up. Hands right by your side, elbows in. Lift up, keeping just your hips on the ground. Lift up, come down. Lift up, come down. Just like that. You can also do actual tricep push-ups where, I guess I'm gonna have to do these on my knees. So you're here, elbows by your side, lower down as much as you can, come back up. Collin, what are you doing, dog? He's like all up in my butt, y'all. So here, hands right by your side, lower down as much as you can, come up. Another exercise you can do is a Y to a push-up, or sorry, a W to a push-up. Really, you can do any of them, but I'm doing a W to target my back, hands right here, and I press up. He doesn't move. And then you lower down, come here, press up to a push-up. And then you could also add a down dog. just like what I just did because of him right there. Lower down slow. Here, up. Keep that core engaged, press up, lower down. Here, up. And just keep repeating that. Some other good core exercises we have in a plank. This is going to work all stability here, all upper body stability, going back into a down dog, coming back to a plank, positioning yourself nice and straight, shooting all the way back. In a plank, all the way back. You can also take plank slow knee-ins here, where you can speed them up for mountain climbers. Another great 2 exercises. All right, another good plank exercise here. You're going to do alternating shoulder taps, keeping hands right under those shoulders, trying not to rock, minimizing it as much as possible. So that's a great core and stability exercise. And another one that I know a lot of people hate are plank up downs. You're in a plank position on your palms, you go down to your forearms, come right back up, trying not to rock, alternating which side you go up with, which side you go down with, and really again, trying not to rock with those. You could also always do it elevated or on your knees. All right, y'all, so there are 30 exercises that just require your body weight that you can do anywhere. So don't tell me there's nothing you can do. You can also take the intensity up in those. So some different ways to structure them, like I said, I would tell you, is alternating between body groups. So when you're first starting out, you could do a lower body, then an upper body exercise. Lower body, then an upper body exercise, and repeat that 2 to 3 times through. Then do another set of those 2 or 4 exercises, same deal. 2 more lower body exercises, 2 more upper body, and kind of rotating through those. You could take it up a notch after you master those, if you will, and do 2 to 3 lower body exercises back to back, and then 2 to 3 upper body exercises back to back for 2 to 3 rounds. You can also slow them down. The slower you do the movements, the harder they're going to be. So if you really slow down a squat, get that tempo going down for 2, up for 2, do 15 of those and tell me how much different that feels. And then a push-up, same thing, versus just going a normal pace. It's going to challenge your muscles in a different way. All right, y'all, once again, I'm Candice with Candice Fitness, and I hope you enjoyed today's workout. Please share it with anybody who might find benefit from it, and be sure to check out the links below for some freebies, and I will catch you next time.